Karma can be such a beautiful thing. It is such a beautiful word, especially when it relates to the worst people in the world. And the worst people in the world are usually working for Donald Trump's administration, especially alongside Elon Musk and DOGE. And that is exactly what we just saw in an interview that recently aired on Fox, in which Elon Musk got all of his DOGE bags to not only talk about the work that they've accomplished, by the way, they haven't, but to talk about how sad they are that people don't like them anymore. And one specific example has gone mega viral because a DOGE bag who dropped out of college has now lost everything because of that decision. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into this sad DOGE bag, and it is really therapeutic, so you'll want to stick around for it, I want to hear from Jessica Tarlov, who called out all the failures of DOGE right here.
Let's also talk about the clear failure of DOGE based on their own set goals. We started at $2 trillion. Then we moved to $1 trillion. Now we're at $160 billion.
For now, right now. It keeps adding up.
Well, it is a problem. You want to always compare things.
I didn't see Congress doing that.
If you want to, which you always do, to compare this to private sector standards, if you hired McKinsey to come in and to cut $2 trillion, then they said, oh, we'll get you $1 billion. Then they say, we'll get you $160 billion. You'd say, you're not doing a very good job. And also, maybe you were spreading lies about what's actually going on in the federal government.
$1.6 billion a day so far.
But the real story of DOGE is that Elon Musk has $38 billion in government contracts, has not had a penny of his money touched, while he's going around cutting other people's contracts. And there was a new congressional report out this week that found that he was up for $2.37 billion in potential fines across 11 agencies. And what has he been doing? He has been cutting the people who are investigating him. If that doesn't smell like corruption, I don't know what
he's
does.
up for a fine. Let's make sure that he gets a fine before you start saying he's up for a fine.
If you get rid of the investigator, you were an investigator,
I
right?
certainly was.
Okay,
and
so
you
if there's
don't
a
make an
potential crime
accusation
and then
unless
you
have the evidence to prove it.
But it's all laid out, by the way, in the pages of the
First
gray
of all,
lady.
he had all those government contracts before he even went into DOGE.
And he makes, I think, $8 million a day while 20,000 federal workers are getting fired. Well, Head Start program. He's like,
Kaylee. Please.
DOGE has been one of the biggest failures of Donald Trump's administration. And that is shocking considering how many failures there have been in Donald Trump's administration. But when you really look at it, sure, Elon Musk has attacked agencies that try to hold him accountable for the corruption and criminality that take place in his own businesses. So sure, he benefited in that way. But at the same time he was stealing billions of dollars to help his companies, he was also losing billions of dollars because now he has become perhaps the most unpopular person in the entire country. People will not buy Teslas. People hate Elon Musk, and it has cost him hundreds of billions of dollars. So if you just look at the financials for Musk, this was a terrible mistake. And you are seeing that with Republican voters all across the country. And so before we get into this sad little DOGE bag, I want to hear from a voter who is talking about their regret and how much they can't stand Elon.
He's a good boy.
Pigott was abruptly fired last month from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service, based here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The reason given for the firings of 125 probationary employees at the Bureau? Poor performance.
I had my last review on the 31st of January, and I had the highest rating that you can get on a review, less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do. To cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. I expected more from President Donald Trump.
Since speaking out, Pigott says she's received death threats and her home has been egged. This woman asked us not to show her face for fear of retribution. She recently retired from the Bureau of Fiscal Service because she was afraid of losing her health insurance if she was fired. She also voted for Trump.
Would you still?
Now, I said that there would be a lot of karma in this video, and yeah, I don't like that people who don't deserve to lose their jobs have lost their jobs because of the DOGE bags, because of Elon Musk. But also, it's kind of what you voted for. There was no world in which Kamala Harris and every advocate for her campaign did not communicate clearly that Donald Trump would be destroying and attacking our government. It was in Project 2025. Russ Vaught, as I always say on this show, specifically made it clear he wanted every federal employee to feel traumatized. Traumatized was the word he said when they came into work. That is the plan that they wanted to carry out. That is the plan they did carry out. And that is the reason DOGE is the most unpopular aspect of Donald Trump's administration. And the little DOGE bags who worked for Elon Musk, oh yeah, they're feeling it. And for some reason, they decided that they wanted to make themselves public, although they have mostly hid. And one specific guy was telling his story, and you'll just have to watch it, and then we'll talk all about it.
Most of us have gotten email threats from reporters and the public alike. I think, speaking for myself, I dropped out of Harvard and came here to serve my country. And it's been unfortunate to see, lost friendships. Most of campus hates me now. But I think fundamentally, I hope people realize through conversations like this that reform is genuinely needed. And if there's one, I think this is important to say, if there's one group of people who really have a shot of success, it's the people here. They're up until 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday. DOGE does not recognize weekends. We're working all the time.
So this little DOGE bag dropped out of college. Now everyone on his campus, all of his friends, all of his family cannot stand him. Good. And at the same time, I don't think that the employment opportunities after this are looking very positive as well. I don't know, maybe Elon will hire him. But Elon, to me, seems much like Trump as a guy who would just screw over anyone who works for him. So maybe he gets a job at Tesla, maybe he doesn't. Hopefully not. But how is this a sob story? How are we supposed to feel bad for you? Oh, people don't like you? You've lost friendships? Yeah, you're cutting cancer research. You're gutting the VA. You're getting rid of suicide hotlines. Good. I'm glad people don't like you. You have done a horrible and illegal thing to this country. I'm glad you're losing friendships. I'm glad you're losing job opportunities. Do you know who else lost job opportunities? People who were doing good work in the federal government. Are you serious? I don't understand this victim complex that MAGA always has. If you do bad things, people will not like you. And this is always the conversation they want to have about free speech. Free speech to MAGA is not about protecting college students who have been detained or lost research opportunities or attacked by this administration because they have spoken out or peacefully protested. For them, free speech is getting to say disgusting, gross, antisocial things or joining DOGE, professing horrid ideas, and everyone being forced to like them. It is not about protection from unfair attacks from the government. They just want everyone to be forced to like them. And who would? Again, you were gutting pediatric cancer research. Why are we supposed to like you? You were going after Social Security, a program that keeps tens of millions of seniors alive. This is absolute insanity. And Greg Kazar called out one of the most disgusting things DOGE had done. And take a look at it right here, because it shows you why no one likes you, kid.
It means that kids are dying, and more will die tomorrow, of severe acute malnutrition. If you want nightmares, just Google severe acute malnutrition and look at the photos. The way that healthcare workers determine if a kid is dying of this is they measure their bicep. And if their bicep is less than 4.5 inches around, then that means you could die of starvation tomorrow. Think of a kid's arm fitting through this hole. Think of your kid's arm fitting through this hole. These kids could die tomorrow. You've heard today about the waiver for life-saving humanitarian assistance, and all I'm asking is for Rubio's waiver to be made real. People watching at home, you can do something about this. I know many of these hearings are live on Fox News. I'm a Democrat. For many of the people watching, you may not agree with me on many issues, but I think we can all agree that this food needs to get out of the warehouse and to these kids. I've gotten phone calls from conservative friends, people of faith that moved to Africa to live out their faith of I was naked and you clothed me, I was hungry and you fed me, and they agree that this food should be given out. So call your Republican congressperson, call the White House, tell them you know they didn't mean to do this, that this food needs to go out tomorrow. If you're in the press, cover this story. Ask questions about Ethiopia. Ask questions about Sudan. Tell the world about this. And to my Republican colleagues, DOGE is not going to listen to me, but you can fix this. Pick up the phone, make a phone call. Y'all could save lives today. Send an email. Please, put politics aside. get the food out of the warehouse, save these kids' lives.
There are kids across the globe who are starving because of Elon Musk. Starving. Are you serious? You don't understand why people like you? You think this is a group that represents what's best in our government? This is an incompetent group of narcissists. That's what DOGE is all about. The tech bros are not playing 4D chess. They don't understand these things. They are attempting to break government to help billionaires who do not care about them. How do you not understand that? Pete Buttigieg broke it down so perfectly, I'm just going to let him take it away.
But look at what happened when they came in, right? If this is actually about government efficiency, then the problem you would be solving, which is a real problem, is that in the federal government, it is too hard to reward your top performers. So you could be somebody who could be commanding a multi-million-dollar salary in the private sector, working on something wildly important, but there's just no way that you're getting, you're in your particular pay grade, same as everybody else. And to remove your bottom performance. Like a lot of people who've been in and out of business and government will tell me, like when I was in the private sector and the public sector, actually like the top 10% were pretty much the same, these amazing driven people. The government ones weren't compensated as well, but they were purpose driven. But the bottom 10% was completely different because I couldn't do anything about the bottom 10%. Right? So imagine if DOGE had come in and they had gone through every department and said, okay, we're going to create a way to reward the top performers. And we're also going to analyze either whose job description is no longer needed, or their job performance is not there. And even though it's painful, even though maybe it's politically tough, like we're going to show them the door. That would be one thing. But they just sent an email to everybody. Many of whom were in fact top performers. Like some of the people they fired who got caught up in this thing, people got fired just based on whether you were in a category called probationary employee. But to be clear, probationary isn't like you fucked up and you're on probation.
You could
Often, you could actually be because you were promoted. You could be a 7-year veteran at the FAA. Or maybe you'd been there as a contractor, but you were so good that the FAA said, we want to hire you now as a government employee. And even though it might have been a little pay cut, you went for it. And you're probationary. And then next thing you know, like you wake up one day and this office, department, whatever DOGE is, clearly hasn't like gone through and checked like who's doing a good job or who's, there's no way because there wasn't even time to do that. And they're just like, guess what, you're fired. Too bad.
DOGE was a failure. These guys are failures. They clearly don't understand that because they're so Elon obsessed, but that's the truth of the matter. This hurt people. I'm glad people don't like you. They should. And we're going to keep calling out Elon and all his DOGE bags for as long as they're there because apparently they're sticking around, unfortunately. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.